Welcome to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's webinar called Helping Patrons Spot and Avoid Fraud. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, regulates the offering and provision of consumer financial products and services under the federal consumer financial laws and educates and empowers consumers to make better informed financial decisions. We recognize that libraries are a trusted community resource and that patrons often come to you with questions about a variety of topics, including money topics. The CFPB supports librarians by providing free publications, access to online financial education tools, program ideas, outreach materials, a partnership guidebook, and training webinars like this one, so that you can guide patrons to unbiased resources for information on financial topics. You do not need to be a financial expert in order to share these resources or to provide handouts and other printed materials in your library. Unfortunately, millions of Americans fall victim to fraud each year because they don't recognize the warning signs of a scam. The purpose of today's webinar is to better prepare you for questions about fraud and scams by providing a quick overview of red flags to look out for, and then introducing you to some trusted resources you can direct patrons to that help them prevent, recognize, and report scams and fraud. In this webinar, we discuss resources provided by the CFPB as well as other federal agencies. This resource guide is provided for informational purposes and includes links and references to third-party resources or content that consumers may find helpful. The Bureau does not endorse, control, or guarantee the accuracy of this third-party information. Other entities and resources also may meet the needs of your patrons. Financial fraud is when an individual or business uses deception to take money or other assets from an individual. Fraud can take many forms. A scammer may pretend to be a debt collector, demanding money, or may send an email informing someone they have won a prize, but only if they provide their banking information. Some fraudsters claim to have an amazing investment opportunity, or may use stolen personal information to open accounts in someone else's name. Depending on the scam they are running, fraudsters may be friendly and charming, or aggressive and intimidating. They approach potential victims in person, over the phone, over the internet, and through the mail and email. Because there are different kinds of frauds and scams popping up each day, it is difficult to say definitively what a scam looks like. However, some common red flags are being contacted by a stranger or receiving a call from an unknown number, requests for personal and financial information, passwords, or access to your computer, being pushed to make a decision quickly, or offering something that seems too good to be true. Individuals can protect themselves from fraud and scams by never providing personal, financial, or sensitive information to anyone other than a trusted contact. Individuals should not provide or verify their personally identifiable information to anyone over the phone or email unless they initiated the contact through the organization's official website or phone number. Individuals should not give others access to their computer or online accounts. Never paying upfront for a promised prize. If an individual is required to pay upfront fees or taxes to receive a financial windfall or prize, it is a scam. Taking time to compare prices after hearing a sales pitch. Individuals should ask for information in writing and not be pressured by sales tactics that require you to act fast. Individuals should be suspicious of deals that seem too good to be true and take some time to do their research. And being informed about types of frauds and scams so they can recognize the warning signs. Let's take a look at some resources that patrons can use to stay informed. starting with the materials available on the CFPB website, www.consumerfinance.gov. Under the Consumer Tools section, you will find a menu of financial topics. In today's webinar, we will focus on the section titled Fraud and Scams. On this page, you will find articles with basic information about recognizing scams, ways to protect yourself from scams, and steps you can take if you are a victim of fraud. You can use these resources for your own information as you coordinate workshops on personal financial management and consumer awareness, or you may direct patrons to the website for their own reading and information. Scammers sometimes target older adults, believing they may be less informed about scammer tactics and may have a good amount of savings available to be stolen. To help older adults, family caregivers, and others prevent, recognize, and report financial exploitation, the CFPB Office for Older Americans has developed the Money Smart for Older Adults Resource Guide. The guide has sections on common types of fraud that target older adults, including investment fraud, telephone scams, phantom debt collection, charity scams, computer or internet scams, identity theft, medical identity theft, scams that target homeowners, and scams that target veterans. Each section has detailed information on how to recognize that type of scam and steps to protect your financial information. There are also activities and a post-test to practice using the information in the guide. Individuals and library staff can download a copy of the guide or bulk order copies from CFPB. There is no fee for these materials. The CFPB Office for Older Americans has also designed several placemats with financial education information to help older adults and their families avoid common financial scams. The placemats were originally developed for meal delivery programs, but are also appropriate for use in libraries. Some placemats simply have information about warning signs of a scam, while others have activities that reinforce the concepts. CFPB has also developed a short lesson plan that can be used in conjunction with the placemats. Individuals and library staff can download and print copies of these placemats or order them in bulk from CFPB. There is no fee for these materials. As a librarian, you will also be interested in the Library Resources page, where the CFPB has organized many resources targeted for librarians and library patrons. Here, you will find free publications for bulk order, online financial education tools, program ideas, outreach materials, webinars, and a community partnership guidebook. These resources help you provide your patrons with trusted information and resources, as well as information to help libraries plan programs on financial topics. Let's quickly look at how to find fraud-related publications on the website. Click the link to order free publications at pueblo.gpo.gov. You can then browse the categories available or type in the search bar. Under the Frauds and Scams category, you'll see several publications available in English and Spanish. Items are available for download or bulk order and are free. Another government agency charged with protecting consumers from fraud is the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. The FTC Pass It On education campaign has information and resources aimed at helping people share information about scams with their family and friends. The website has articles, short PowerPoint presentations, and printable materials about common scams. All materials are available for free download or bulk order. Like the CFPB, the FTC has a web page where they have consolidated resources for librarians, including printable materials, infographics, PowerPoint presentations, lesson plans, and programming ideas. Some materials are appropriate for simply reaching the general public, but there are also resources targeting the following audiences: identity theft victims, Spanish speakers, English language learners, older patrons, military families, incarcerated and re-entering consumers, and kids and teens. Some individuals fall victim to phone scams because they have a hard time distinguishing between the many telemarketing calls they receive and a scammer. If an individual is interested in blocking telemarketing calls, they can add their phone number to the FTC's National Do Not Call Registry. This will stop real companies from conducting sales calls to that individual's number, but will not stop scammers. If an individual has placed their number on the Do Not Call Registry and they continue receiving unwanted sales calls, odds are those calls are from scammers. The FTC maintains a database of consumer reports about financial problems they have experienced called the Consumer Sentinel, which can be used by law enforcement agencies in order to investigate deceptive financial practices, including fraud and identity theft. If an individual encounters a scam, whether over the phone, through email, or in person, they should file a report with the FTC. Law enforcement agencies may use information in this database for their investigations. Reports can be filed over the phone at 1-877-382-4357 or online. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, is the principal federal law enforcement agency in the United States, and it works to protect Americans from major criminal threats. In order to inform the public about the threat of financial fraud, the FBI has a Scams and Safety webpage, a list of common fraud schemes, and tips about Internet safety. You can direct patrons to this site if they have questions about fraud and scams. Many individuals fall victim to investment fraud because they are unsure how to distinguish between real and phony sales pitches. Fortunately, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, a nonprofit organization working under the supervision of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, has several resources available to help people make informed investment decisions. On FINRA's consumer-focused website, saveandinvest.org, you can find articles about types of investment fraud, real stories of fraud, and investor alerts. There are also several online tools, including the Scam Meter, where individuals answer a few questions about an investment opportunity to get a quick assessment of how likely it is a scam. The Risk Meter, where individuals answer a few questions about themselves to see how vulnerable you may be to investment fraud. Broker Check, which is a database that people can use to research the background and experience of financial brokers, advisors, and firms. Using this tool, an individual can instantly tell whether a person or firm is registered, as required by law, to sell securities, offer investment advice, or both. It can also give individuals a snapshot of a broker's employment history, regulatory actions, and investment-related licensing information, arbitrations, and complaints. And the Market Data Center and Fund Analyzer. These tools allow an individual to do their own research on markets, investments, and funds. In order to teach people how to protect their families and finances from fraud, FINRA worked with AARP, the SEC, state securities regulators, and noted fraud experts to develop the Fraud Fighting Partner Toolkit. This toolkit contains videos, interactive curriculum, and printed and online materials, and can be downloaded from the website, or items can be ordered in bulk. There is no cost for these materials. This brings us to the conclusion of our webinar on helping patrons spot and avoid fraud. We have compiled all the resources referenced in this webinar on this slide and in the video notes below, which you can print to use as a quick reference tool. Let's quickly review. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau website has a fraud and scams section with articles on recognizing the warning signs of fraud and what to do if your patrons encounter scams. The CFPB Money Smart for Older Adults Resource Guide and Financial Education Placemats can be used to educate older adults, caregivers, and families about frauds and scams. The Federal Trade Commission has several articles, videos, PowerPoint presentations, and print materials available to educate the public about warning signs of scams and how to report them. The FTC also manages the National Do Not Call Registry to help individuals receive fewer unwanted phone calls, and Consumer Sentinel database, where individuals can report fraud and scams they encounter. The FBI's website has a page called Scams and Safety that lists some of the most common scams and tips that people can use to protect themselves online. FINRA has resources to assist individuals in researching and evaluating investment opportunities, including articles, investor alerts, and online tools. The FINRA Fraud Fighting Partner Toolkit contains videos, curriculum, online and print materials for educating the public about fraud and scams. This is not a comprehensive list of all resources available to assist individuals to recognize and avoid fraud, but we hope it serves as a good starting point for you and your patrons. For information on other financial topics, we invite you to explore the other tools available on the CFPB Library Resources website and check out additional CFPB videos and webinars on the CFPB Video YouTube channel.